stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. Let's get myself here. I'd like to ask that we observe a moment of silence for the following individual. David Thompson, who attended schools in the North Syracuse Central School District. Thank you. Okay, our first presentation is Universal Pre-Kindergarten. Dan, come on up and...
Good evening. We have 3 universal pre-K providers that we subcontract through with a grant from New York State, and they're going to be giving presentations on the progress of the students that by the beginning and to the end of the year. The providers are Head Start or Peace Incorporated, Learn As You Grow, and Northminster. And I'd like to have Kelly come up from Peace Incorporated, and she's going to start our first presentation.
Welcome, Kelly.
I'm Kelly Tucciaroni. I'm Child Development Coordinator for Peace Incorporated Head Start, Early Head Start. There's some handouts that are coming by. Excuse me, but I'm a little nervous. So, for Peace Incorporated Head Start, Early Head Start, we're contracted with 17 children, 6 in which have IEPs, and 6 are returning for the previous year. The teacher in the classroom has a master's in reading and literature and has a permanent certification N through 6. The developmental screener that we use is for the program is Ages and Stages, or the ASQ, which is split up into age groups. And the social emotional screener we use is the Devereux Early Childhood Assessment, or the DECA. As a Head Start, Early Head Start program, we're required to screen children within 45 days of our program to be able to capture some of those red flags that might be for children with possible disabilities, and it's a requirement of our program to do that. We also are required to assess our children 3 times a year. Our assessment is what we call the Promise Assessment. It's locally designed in our program. It's completed 3 times a year in the fall, winter, and spring. Of the 17 children that we're contracted with, 14 of them received the assessment all 3 times during the period. Part of what is coming around is the example of the assessment that we use. I do have some numbers if you're interested in them for some of the areas for that. Sorry. For instance, if you look at it, it's divided up into language development, phonological awareness, print concepts and book knowledge, letter knowledge, and also mathematics, the early math piece of it. One of the examples that I can give you is something that's able to follow simple directions. In the beginning of the program year, only 50% of our children could do this. By the time they left in the spring for our spring assessment, 100% were able to do that. I'm just going to highlight just a couple of them, just to give you an idea on some of the stuff that we assess the children on throughout the program year. In the phonological awareness piece of it, one of the areas that we do is being able to identify a word as a group of letters that's separated by spaces. In the fall, 0% of our children can do that. In the winter, 71% of our children can do it. And when they left in the spring, 100% of them can do it. We have what we call as a learning continuum, and that is what our classroom staff use to provide small groups for children and to individualize them as they go along the learning continuum. And that's just a couple of examples of that. Going back to the DECA profile, and I provided some of you some examples in that. I also provided the report that was generated. We also do that 3 times a year as not only a screener in the very beginning, but we also do that as an assessment throughout the year, because we believe that the social emotional foundation for children is one of the key ways in which children learn. So you can see by the report that I gave you, it's color-coded in green, blue, and red. And it shows you, it's IN is initiative, SC is self-control, then you have attachment, and then you have behavior concerns after that. The behavior concerns is rated at the end with a culmination of all 3 of the other ones, the initiative, self-control, and attachment. We have a mental health coordinator and assistant mental health coordinator that's on site. So any of the children that might get highlighted in the red area, she'll be notified, and she comes out and she meets with the staff and does observations with the in the classroom itself. And we have resources with strategies that helps provide strategies to the classroom staff to build on the children's social emotional needs and any behavior concerns that might come up in the classroom. Head Start takes a holistic approach to school readiness for children and families. Each center has a child development coordinator, a family worker, and a nurse. The Head Start program also employs a mental health assistant mental health coordinator and a disabilities coordinator to provide support in those areas. The site also utilizes the itinerant provider services from community agencies as well as the North Syracuse Main Street School. And support services for children and family are evident throughout the program year. We recognize the importance of the transition to kindergarten. Head Start classrooms complete a transition packet for each child that includes information regarding the child, his or her experience in the Head Start program. The packet is forwarded to the school in which the child is enrolled in when they register for kindergarten for the fall. The goals for the 2012-2013 program year, currently because it's a homegrown assessment, we're looking into an assessment, and it's just for the preschool right now. We're looking for an assessment that covers birth to age 5, and also looking for something that has been proven reliable and valid throughout the years. We're reviewing that now. Our policy is that we would decide which one we're going to go with. We have our governing body, which is the Policy Council, which is made up of 51% of the parents, and then the rest of it is with community people. That meeting is actually happening on Wednesday to nail down the specific assessment that we're going to be able to use for the next program year. The administrative staff is also in the process of being trained in what's called the class observation tool, and I gave you an example of what that is. Our program is going to start utilizing this tool to conduct observations using this scoring system 3 times a year throughout the program year. The main reason for doing it is for professional development for the classroom staff in the classroom, to be able to determine where maybe some of the outcomes might be lacking, to provide more intense professional development for the classroom staff in the classroom throughout the entire Head Start, early Head Start program. And that's it. Any questions? Go ahead.
I've got a few questions. First of all, physically, where are you located?
Where am I located?
Where is the program located?
Oh, we have 11 sites throughout Onondaga County.
Okay.
So we have the Cicero site, we have Baldwinsville, we have
So
Jordan.
our students from North Syracuse go to the Cicero?
To the Cicero site, yes. Right across from Sparrows on 31, Route 31.
Awesome, I know that area. My other question is, and you might not know the answer, we have 17 of our students. What is the ratio of teacher per student?
We have 3 classroom staff in the classroom. We have a lead teacher, a teacher assistant, and a teacher aide.
And how many students are in that class?
17.
17.
It's all strictly UPK students in this particular classroom, and it's a full day program. They're there all day long.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you very much. You did very well, by the way, for being nervous. Very good.
I love what I do. I just don't like talking.
The next presentation is going to be made by Brooke and 3 members, Terry, Colleen, and Josh. And they have their own iPad and projector.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. Learn as You Grow has been implementing a universal pre-kindergarten collaboration with the North Syracuse School District for 13 years. And what we wanted to do tonight is take you through a typical day at Universal Pre-Kindergarten at Learn as You Grow. The goal of the Universal Pre-Kindergarten program is to encourage kindergarten readiness, develop competent and confident kindergartners, and cultivate a lifelong love of learning. In your packet, we have enclosed a copy of the daily schedule. Children thrive when they're familiar with a classroom routine and expectations, and our daily schedule provides that routine for children. The daily schedule includes activities in all domains of learning, and some highlights of the day include our morning circle, where we focus on social studies and literacy activities, as well as peer interaction. A majority of our day is spent in center-based play, which encourages math, literacy, and artistic development. The children participate in large group activities where they practice taking turns, helping each other, playing cooperatively, and solving problems, in addition to gross motor development activities. We serve our snack as part of a family-style environment where teachers act as role models and encourage socialization and language development, as well as encouraging good nutrition and healthy eating habits. And we end our day with a closing circle time, which solidifies the concepts that the children have focused on during the day, and it creates excitement about what is in store for the next day. We do weekly lesson plans that provide a framework for our teaching team to ensure that we are meeting all of the areas of education, including physical, cognitive, social, and emotional development for the children. This year, we have incorporated the Scott Forsman Reading Street program. This program is a concept development program that fosters reading comprehension by utilizing a 3-step process: expanding the children's knowledge of a concept, developing language that relates to a concept, and reading literature specific to the concept. Instruction includes daily activities in oral language, shared reading, letter and sound recognition, and language art, in addition to centers in small group times. Our focus in literacy is on reading, writing, listening, speaking, viewing, and representing print. We have incorporated the New York State Learning Standards into the Scott Forsman Reading Program and have found tremendous success this year for our children as far as literacy development. Math is another focus of our time. At Learn as You Grow, we have incorporated the Common Core math standards, which include activities such as counting, sorting, classifying, graphing, sequencing, one-to-one correspondence, and spatial relations. Social studies activities focus on the children as part of our community in the classroom, in the neighborhood, in the state we live in our country, as well as in the world around us. Social studies activities encourage diversity and incorporate multicultural education. This year, one of the new activities that we've added to social studies is a collaboration with the North Syracuse Transportation Department to encourage children to develop an understanding of bus safety rules for both of our sessions in the AM and PM UPK. In the AM UPK, we provide transportation through the North Syracuse School District. In the PM class, the parents' transport. We were fortunate to have representatives from the transportation department come in to share their rules and regulations, which helped in the pre-kindergarten to kindergarten transition. And I don't know if you can see the bus, the little child on the left is in a bus that we used as part of our social studies process this year. Science development activities are an extra special time at Learn as You Grow. We truly enjoy those and work on the 3-step scientific process where we create a hypothesis, test the hypothesis, and then report our findings as part of our discovery. We encourage the children to use all their senses as part of that center and have seen some amazing, amazing development, growth, and ideas and understanding of concepts. Creative expression allows our children to express their thoughts, their ideas, and their feelings. We encourage the children to do that through art, music, drama, and dance. And responsibilities of a learner, which are the intangibles, the friendships that the children make, the opportunity to develop appropriate work habits in a classroom setting, to develop positive and appropriate peer and adult interactions, as well as the development of a strong self-image. One of the keys of our program is a strong home-to-school connection. We encourage communication with parents. In our afternoon classes, we are fortunate to see our parents on a daily basis because of the drop-off and pickup. However, with our parents that we don't see on a daily basis, we incorporate that home-to-school communication piece through monthly calendars, which allow parents to discuss specific activities that their children participated in during their time in UPK, a weekly newsletter that reiterates different concepts that we've worked on during the week, including our amazing words, as well as upcoming events and concepts that we'll be working on. We include songs, poems, recipes that the children have tested in the classroom, so kid tested and kid approved. And in addition, this year we have added the concept and letter recognition books as part of the Scott's Forsman reading program. So those go home as well on a weekly basis. Beginning in September and continuing throughout the year, the classroom teachers compile a history of each child's academic and social progress. These observations allow us to identify areas of concerns and begin working with the families in the early education program for North Syracuse School District. We have several itinerant teams, OT, PT, speech and language, and See It teachers who do come in and push into the program, which has been truly beneficial. It's excellent to get a head start on any areas that may be red flagged or areas of concern. Teachers do create the cumulative folder, which includes writing samples, cutting samples, data from the Fox in the Box testing, as well as the modified Gazelle testing that we do, and math and literacy profiles on an individual basis. This information is forwarded to the kindergarten teachers as well, so they have a snapshot of the child's development when they arrive at kindergarten. A copy of the individual progress monitoring tool for literacy and math has been included to include the Common Core standards. It does allow us to individualize lesson planning based on the children's level of proficiency in specific developmental areas. And this progress monitoring tool is completed as part of a classroom observation, so it's not considered a testing situation. The children are observed as part of a classroom as opposed to an individual one-on-one testing situation. So it's a natural setting for the children, which is important. This year we have found a significant across-the-board improvement to mastery at the kindergarten level with the majority of our students. We also send home report cards. They are distributed twice a year in January and June and utilize the 1 to 4 rating scale, which is similar to the scale used by the North Syracuse School District. So there is that beginning understanding for parents when they see that progress report come home. Parent communication through the report card lets parents know about emerging skills in literacy, math, motor development, and responsibilities of a learner. In your packet, we have included information about our preschool goals on the left-hand side and specific learning areas. We've also included further towards the back, approximately 3/4 of the way through, the copies of the individual monitoring tools as well as the classroom monitoring tools and a copy of our report card. The right-hand side includes a full copy of our calendar that goes home, the newsletter, a lesson plan for the week, which includes all of the different learning areas that we spoke about, the letter concept book, the education concept book, and a newsletter, our unit project that went home, as well as all of our amazing words that we did throughout the year. Any questions that I could answer for you?
A comment. You know, I was on the first committee when you all came and presented to us, and it's been a wonderful collaboration. And from the outset, your professionalism and the strength of the program really shown, and they've only improved.
Thank you. We are very proud. And I will tell you, one of the intangibles that I think is important to share with you is the number of veteran staff that we have. We have 4 teachers who are returning for over 3 years. We have a new staff person that we've added who's returning this year as well after her first year, which I think is important to see. And again, I thank you for the opportunity to share this information. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call or stop by. Some of you we see more often than others. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our final UPK presentation will be conducted by Northminster, and I have the director Cindy Fowler and Pastor Karen.
This one or that one? Oops, went ahead. Excuse me for a minute. Get back to the beginning. Okay. I'm Cindy Fowler. I'm the director at Northminster Nursery School and Early Childhood Center. This is our second year providing a UPK program for the North Syracuse School District. We have 18 children at Northminster Presbyterian, and it is situated just a mile exactly a mile between Taft Road and Bear. Sorry, I should be operating this way. Sorry. I mentioned we have 18 students. Laura Agulia is the classroom teacher, and she has 5 years experience teaching kindergarten, and she's also a district resident. I'm sorry, this is just going to... All right. This year we changed our curriculum. We purchased the creative curriculum published by Teaching Strategies. Thank you. Okay.
Who's my friend?
Thanks. The creative curriculum was developed by early childhood educators, and it's tied very closely to the state standards and focuses on pre-reading, pre-math, and pre-science skills. Yeah. Okay. And then just thanks. All right. Excuse me for the tech glare. A typical day includes teacher-led and student-led activities. The children have time for choice time in the classroom, as well as moving through centers in groups. We also have fun with experiential learning. It's interesting. The creative curriculum names its units by single words, such as exploration of balls or wheels or buildings. We had fun with having the Home Depot come and do a buildings workshop. The children learned about architecture and how buildings are created, as well as the different types of buildings in our community, and actually experimented in the block unit with making their own buildings. I just have to click the slide. But yeah. All right. Some of the curricular units are families, the beginning of the school year, talking about who am I, who is my family. It's very multicultural and inclusive. It includes traditional literature, such as Three Little Pigs in the Building Unit, but also there are several different children's books that are very multicultural and modern stories created for this. In this picture, you see two children. It was, I believe the letter of the week was M, and they were mapping and sorting M&Ms and voting on their favorite colors, and then doing some quantitative analysis with bar graphs with their M&Ms. So, choice time, I mentioned earlier, is always included in our day, and the children have dramatic play. They have a choice to operate the computer, and that has other literacy and reading and math skills too. We have a music teacher who meets with each class for 20 minutes each week, and then we present a holiday and a springtime program for parents. Story time with the nursery school staff. Pastor Karen and I facilitate that. With the UPK children, they learn some positive social values through children's literature such as Stone Soup or the story of the empty pot. Part of our program and program strength is parental involvement. There are frequently, Laura has parent volunteers coming in to help out with the classroom activity or to serve as parent readers, usually once a week. This year we had a Fall Fest where the students enjoyed different activities and in the large fellowship hall, and parents attended that with their children and helped set us up with refreshments. We also do a Thanksgiving feast where each classroom prepares an item to contribute to a Thanksgiving meal. And of course, we're the traditional Native Americans and pilgrims in costume. Great fun. Holiday and spring concerts I already mentioned, and there's a family fun day in May where the children just enjoy being with their parents outside and different fun activities in the playground. The picture shows Toys for Tots. This year we had a coin drive and collected toys also for the Toys for Tots and presented them to Wayne Mahar's operation at a local TV station. And the dark picture there, you can't quite see, is our UPK children singing for their parents at the holiday. One highlight of our year two was the field trip to Hafner's greenhouses for our unit on trees and plants, and the children actually were given a chance to plant their own tomato plant and take it home. So again, learning all about trees and plants. Okay, our program strengths, we continue to offer a very supportive, positive atmosphere. There is a lot of collaboration among the staff. Laura offers her expertise to the staff, and there's a good exchange of ideas and creative lesson planning in the program. We also have a very predictable structure and a daily routine. The children know that they have choice time when they first come in the door. There's circle and calendar time, then they move to centers, and specials like music and story are added in with the day. I'm proud of the fact that we focus on individual competencies at Northminster. This year, two children had a formal special ed evaluation done with us through the school district, and one was identified with special needs. His providers come into the classroom. He's receiving speech, OT, and also has a special ed teacher. Another strength is parent rapport. Laura is just absolutely great with relating to parents. She's very accessible to them by phone and email, and there's just constant communication and good exchange back and forth. she's very good at addressing concerns so that they don't grow into any serious issues. Along with that, we do a bi-weekly newsletter that goes home in backpacks with the children. We're still using our homeschool communication folder where, especially for parents whose children are bused, they can send a note to school and the assistant unpacks those notes, and we make sure that we are in tune with any of the children's needs for that day. And also, they use direct email contact with Laura, and she can constantly remind parents of what they need to send in, what's coming up, who's got show and tell, all the special reminders. All right, where did we begin? At the beginning of the year, a third of our UPK 4-year-olds had no prior experience outside the home. They may have been in a family daycare situation or home with grandparents. We noticed very poor fine motor skills, that there's very little coloring going on at the kitchen table, and pencil and scissor skills were also weak. We were able to address those. Some seem to be lagging behind socially. The whole concept of learning to listen to and follow 1- and 2-step directions and conform to a group was new to them, and so that led to challenges with them adjusting to a classroom of 18 children. A couple of them were still 3 years old yet, so they and we had a younger class this year, many fall birthdays and summer and fall birthdays. So I have to comment on this picture to explain what they're doing. Some of you might be familiar with the Jan Brett story, the mitten. Well, the kids got a chance to experiment. Could you really stretch something that was knit so that so that we could fit into a mitten? If you're familiar with the story, the little forest animals climb into a mitten together. So they were trying this out, see how far we could stretch that piece of knitted fabric. All right, we couple things for our post-testing. In the beginning of the year, we administered the Brigance Screen. It's published by the Curriculum Associates in the second week of October. 7 out of the 18 children in our class scored below the cutoff score for at risk. And then what we were to do is to decide is that because of a bilingual home? Is it lack of exposure? Are there other interfering factors? The sense we had was part of it was the late birthdays and the lack of exposure to some academic experiences. And we did have 2 children in the group that have bilingual homes. Our post-test showed that instead of the 7 at-risk cutoff, we only remained with 2, and one of those, of course, has been identified as having special needs. So the median growth of that on the Brigance was 11 months, and the range, it was from 6 months to 26 months. My educator's hunch with our growth in 26 months was that the little girl, it was the first time she'd ever been in a testing situation, and she was socially behind and probably froze on the test and just couldn't express what she did know to begin. I'm not going to tell you that we achieved a 2-year growth with her. So we're pleased at the result, and if Laura were here, she would tell you that the kids just really learned how to conform to the group and keep up with the pace of an active classroom, and really engaged in the learning centers as we went along. They did a good job working on sight reading and letter recognition, the one-to-one correspondence that we expect in math, and so strong growth there. We for next year, we'd like to continue implementing the creative curriculum and improve that even more. We'd like to continue implementing and using the computers in the classroom, and maintaining a website for better communication with parents, and continuing our parent involvement. And also, I would like to offer, my goal for next year is to offer some more orientation with parents. I think we oftentimes can fall into the trap of providing a good enough program so that parents think that it's our job. And I'd like to help facilitate their notion that they are their child's primary educator, and they need to be a support and get them started with this as their child is a preschooler, and then when they enter the public school, they're active and involved and keeping up with the homework and all the other expectations. I'd also like to have a kindergarten night where kindergarten teachers actually share with parents what their expectations are on the first day of school when they're entering kindergarten. That's it. Questions?
Question? Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Just want to share a few things in conclusion. One of the things that you continue to hear is a reoccurring theme about the homeschool connection. All of our providers spend a lot of time making sure that our parents feel welcome, have a clear understanding of the expectations and what's going on in the classroom, and that translates into kindergarten when these students come in and the parents have an understanding about homework and sequencing and some of the expectations that the teachers will give them once they enter kindergarten. And I do want to say that transportation has been wonderful, working with our providers and even going to the sites, providing orientations and helping the students make that first transition when they ride the buses. And I can't thank transportation enough for that. And I do want to tell you that we have about 232 students that we provide universal pre-K service to. And if you take a standard class of 600 students in kindergarten, it equates to about 38% of our students end up having had the benefit of a UPK program. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
Dan, just a couple things
Sure.
I wanted to ask you before you left. One thing I brought up last year was, and you know just what I'm going to say, right?
Oh, yes.
Was the communication between the K teachers and the universal pre-K, and I believe you did do some of that
Yes,
this year.
and there's also been field trips where they have come to the site or vice versa, just to make sure there's some communication with the UPK providers. We're trying to do a little bit more. You heard about folders going
Right.
from the site to the kindergarten teachers, just so that they have an understanding where the child is as they're coming into kindergarten for the first time.
And my other question's on transportation. You knew I was going to ask that. too.
Absolutely.
What is the economic situation for busing these kids next year?
Right now, the economic situation is exactly the same as it was last year. We took some proactive steps, and we created kind of pizza pie zones. So attendance zones for the students are based on a geographic area and proximity to the UPK site. In past years, we did a lot of crisscrossing that was not as efficient. And by doing that, it provides us the opportunity to transport more students. And as you know, we did remove the teacher aids or the transportation aids from the bus. But that is why we do such a good job now at making sure the transportation provides the training that they do going to the sites. And the providers also do their own bus safety and things that the students should know about riding a bus for the first time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Great job, Dan. Thank you.
Marie? Don Marie is next.
This looks pretty exciting there, Don.
Is that tongue-in-cheek?
No. No, I'm excited. This looks like some great data source.
Waiting to see.
Spence.
I mean, one of the things we've always questioned and always had some issue with is that we had information and we had data, but it was never put together so that we could look at it and digest it and see it. And this is a great step towards that. So, And we know you've been doing a great job with the data. So.
Thank you. Okay, so what I'm going to talk to you about is a data dashboard. And my thought is to, I know I get so excited, I'm such a nerd, but my thought is to release this in September, with the school year. So I'll go through what it is, what it entails, and then I'll show you an example of two separate items that I've worked on. Data dashboard is a public display of your data. All of the stuff that I'm going to show you right now is actually accessible on the web on different sites. We're just kind of making it a one-stop shopping deal so that parents could go to the North Syracuse website, community members could do it, as well as our own teachers, because I am finding when I'm visiting classrooms and buildings around the district that even our own teachers may not be aware of some of our own data. So very important to share that out. So one-stop shopping, be on the district website, and you would be able to access all these things hopefully in a easy-to-use, pretty fashion. So the contents, there's lots of things that can go into a data dashboard. I brought it to district steering, I think back in April maybe, and the suggestion was made at that time that why don't I visit the buildings, talk to them about the stuff that I was planning on putting in the dashboard and get some feedback from the teachers. So I visited all of the buildings, had some pretty interesting conversations with different groups of people, and got 2 full pages of feedback on them where I'm going to alter some of the information based on what the teachers told me. Reasoning, we're trying to be more transparent with our data. We're trying to make our data more accessible to parents, help them to understand, where we're coming from, where we're going, align to the goals of the district, the plans of the district, and kind of put it all together. Not a lot of other districts have a data dashboard. It's a relatively new concept, at least for K-12 education. You will see it in some colleges. Queensbury probably has the best data dashboard that I've seen, and I've cheated and stolen all of their stuff. I know that FM has a data dashboard. For some reason, they haven't gone public with it yet. It's only accessible to the board. I'm hoping, as a taxpayer in the district, that eventually that will move that way, but we'll see. So I'm going to show you an example. This was before I added May and June, and no, it was not interactive in your board packet, but I'm going to show you what it looks like. So I will sneak down here. Okay, so we'll start with attendance. So what a data dashboard does is it allows you, this is an interactive one-page PDF. It's really cool if you're, a techno geek and you like that kind of stuff. Right, Mike? Okay. I bought the program. It was about $480 to get the program, and we kind of own it for life. It's not an automatic data pull. It's something that has to be refreshed every month. I'm volunteering to do that, to put our data on. But this is the attendance data for last year. And when you see how it's a one-page interactive PDF, it's so cool. So when you click on Allen Road, the graph pops up, and there's the attendance for Allen Road for the year, September through June. You move on down, and the graph will change. Bear Road, Cicero, Lakeshore. Want to see the high school? Yes. Okay. There's the high school. Now remember that the scale here is 80 to 100, not 0 to 100. And the high school did experience a pretty rough winter. There was a student death, and yes, attendance, did dip. So you have to, unfortunately, you can't explain all of those things on the website, but just so that you would know that that's what it was. And here's the district attendance. Okay, so this is something a parent could look at. We would update it. I would update it every month. It would be refreshed, and that data would be readily available. Kind of neat. Okay, let's see if I can get the second one up for you.
Oh, I couldn't hit.
This is the one you want, right? Okay. So here's the Regents data. I've just added 2012.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. So let's talk about what this is before I show you the pieces of it. A student usually has up to 3 chances to take a Regents. Okay, so you're talking June, August, and then January, all within one school year. The program I created actually takes the best score. So if a student takes it 3 times during the year, it's only going to show you the best score because that's all that counts in the transcripts. That's what counts for state accountability. So when you see 2012, It's August of last year, January of this year, and then our June that we just passed. Okay, so all compiled into one, and the students' best scores. So I've looked for 65% or higher. We start out with ELA, which has a very nice pass rate. Okay, I know. I know. We'll go down each of them. Bob will kill me if we don't. Algebra. Remember, this was a new exam in 2008. Okay, so it was math A and B before then, and 1, 2, and 3 before that. So we're going back to when 1,000 years ago I was in high school, and algebra, geometry, and trig. Geometry. Trigonometry. We have had a slight increase this year. That's good. Global studies. U.S. history. U.S. history has our highest mastery rate of any region. So that's kids scoring 85% or above, which isn't reflected in this graph, but suggested by the teachers as something to add. Earth science, living environment, chemistry, and physics. Physics, we've had a change in population on who takes the exam, and you can see that it's reflected in the graph. Okay. So different things that can be included. Student enrollment could be there. Marking period, percent passing. My thought on that is really to only go for the 4 core, English, social studies, science, and math. Nothing that has anything identifiable by student or by teacher would go on there. It would only be aggregate data, big, clumps of data. Let's see, graduation rate over the years would be something that we would put up. The region's percent passing, adding the mastery to that, and maybe some comparison data with the region so that we could see how we're doing compared to other schools within the BOCES. GED enrollment, midterm, final exam, number of students that are attending 2- and 4-year colleges. We're now tracking that because of Race to the Top, so that's good data to put out there. AP exams, how many students are taking them, because just trying the course is something that we want to encourage, and then what scores the students are getting on each of those AP exams. And then the teachers gave me some suggestions. We could put discipline data up there. Let's see, some honors courses, merit roll, things like that. So I got a lot of very good suggestions from them. Okay, but that's it. That's what it will look like. So let me know what you think.
I think it's great. When is it going to be? Is it ready now? Or?
It is ready now, but the thought was kind of to roll it out in the new year in September. It's really cool, isn't it? I know.
Any questions? No?
Mike, nothing?
No. Yeah, that is. I like that.
Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah, I tried at first and then I stopped.
Yeah, you guys were clicking
it must not be interactive.
It was only a screenshot. Yeah, I didn't make it interactive.
Okay, I was trying to.
Well, it looks great, Donna Marie. I mean, anything that we could do to push our data out so that it's readily accessible and easy to understand is a good thing, definitely.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Before we go any further, I just wanted to acknowledge our 3 board members that are out of town, Catherine, Pat, and Scott, and just to mention they're out of town and excused from this evening's meeting. With that, we have no comments from the audience this evening. We don't have any board committee reports. I've got the preliminaries on requests for board committees. Just need to talk to Pat because he's out of town to see, because he hasn't responded yet. Yeah, so hopefully maybe I'll call him on the phone, and as soon as I get all of that together, we'll have the committee assignments ready to go. Do we have any comments from the board? So are there any comments? No? Scratch? Well, it's summer, that's right. It's a lot of stuff. Okay. Dr. Dice, do you have anything right now?
Not right
Okay. All right. All right, our routine action items. Let me just go down through. Are there any questions or discussion on any of those items? A, B, C, and D. Motion to take them as a group. Sandy. Second, Michael. Recommended action is to approve A, B, C, and D as submitted. All in favor? That's unanimous. Our discussion item is our fire inspection reports. Mr. Ward?
evening.
Good evening.
I
Did
have
everything
with
look
me-
good this year, hopefully?
Yes, went very well. Darren Crouch, the custodial supervisor of the department's here with me tonight. And unfortunately, Mr. Paul Gower, our code enforcement officer who goes around and does all the actual inspections, was unable to make it. I would like to say this will be Paul's last time with us. With the elimination of the director in safety and security, we've done a 2-day-a-week OCM BOCE safety officer, and that safety officer, Mike Heidi, and Darren will be conducting them next year. This year's cycle was May 15th through July 1st. There was 64 non-conformances throughout the entire district, which was about average. That's about where we usually end up. The majority of them, again, were housekeeping B items, storage, hanging combustibles, vision panels in doorways, blocks. No major violations, though, and everything was done and turned in.
No couches or
No couches.
or
I think
armchairs
we've
or
gotten
anything?
rid of most of those over the year.
Didn't you say, Mr.
I
Crabtree,
had
that you
one at
were
this
one of the
school.
culprits?
Yeah. Back in the 70s.
Back
You know
in
how
the
70s
day.
were.
Yes.
I know there were some shag carpets in some of the buildings,
And
in the
comfy
reading
chairs
areas.
for reading.
Oh, yes.
It was-
DiBianco used to
It
come
was a
in.
very homey classroom.
That was a very popular thing for a while, was couches and chairs.
When they closed the school, it went out in the trash. When they closed the school. I did not take it with me.
Are there any questions for them? No? Well, again, a great job, John. You and your staff and your crew always do a good job. And I have to compliment and thank the people in the buildings, because since, I don't know how many years ago it was, not too long ago, since it came to their attention and our attention that some of these things, it was probably better that they weren't in the classrooms. Everybody really stepped up to the plate and did what they had to do. So.
Yeah, and it's been a very good experience with Paul. The staff in the district really got to know him, and we're hoping Mike takes that and runs with it as well. So it really helped keep things throughout the year where they should be.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, our discussion action items. The first is the acknowledgement of a gift. The Early Childhood Longitudinal Study kindergarten class of 2010 and 2011 has donated $200 to Smith Road Elementary School as a token of appreciation for the school's participation in the study. The recommended action is to accept with gratitude the gift of $200 from the Early Childhood Longitudinal Study kindergarten class of 2011-2010. Again, we really appreciate all of the gifts that we receive. It really goes a long way to help us and help the teachers and students do and get what they need. Motion? Michael D'Onofrio, second Michael Marizio. All in favor? That's unanimous. The amendment, next item is the amendment to the annual organizational meeting agenda, petty cash section. Donald?
We just had a few people that we wanted to correct and properly state as those responsible for petty cash here in the district office, in Main Street School, as well as at Gillette Road. So that was it. It was just a clarification of a few of the petty cash custodians.
Did anybody have any questions on that? Any discussion? Recommended action is to amend the annual organizational meeting. Bob, did you have your hand up? Second, George. All in favor? And that's unanimous also. Item C is the recommendation to abolish and create administrative positions. Bob, did you get the questions answered?
Yes.
Okay, okay, cool.
She's going to explain a little bit.
Okay.
She's going to explain. Yes.
All right, cool.
I'm all set. Yeah.
Thanks, Bob. Okay, go ahead, Annette.
Okay, this resolution contains a list of administrative positions, some of which belong to bargaining units and some of which are non-affiliated positions. There's a group to be abolished and a group to be created. I anticipated the question that was raised about why all the ones to be abolished are not included tonight. There are 3 additional positions to be abolished at a future board meeting. They could not be included in the group tonight because we have existing employees working under those titles and performing those duties. And until we go through the interview and appointment process to hopefully get them into new titles, they need to be here continuing to work. So once we finish that process, at a future board meeting in the near future, we will be abolishing 3 additional administrative titles.
I just wanted to make a comment. I want to thank Dr. Dyson and Annette for answering that. And what the public needs to know is that, as Annette said, it's the same number, but we really are fewer administrators. From our budget last year, we no longer have a director of computer technology, food service, and safety. So really, the total number of administrators, when we're all done starting the school year, will be lower. Am I correct?
That is correct.
That's what.
And then the reasoning behind this is a new administrative organizational chart, shifting some duties into places that we believe will be more efficient and more logical.
Right. Any questions? No. Recommended action is to approve the resolution. Sandy, second George, all in favor? That's unanimous also. Item D is policies 9250 and 9350. Were there any questions or discussion on those? Recommended action by the committee is to approve the amendment and readoption of both of those policies. Do I have a motion? Michael, second Sandy, all in favor? And that's unanimous also. Item E is the review of the presentation schedule for 2012-2013.
So this is a summary of all of the presentations that we will be scheduling for the upcoming school year. And we wanted you to take the opportunity to look at it and see if there's anything that you would like us to add to the document that we may have not, we may have missed in our first review. We did include in the Friday board letter that we would be including in here our presentation on our LENS program. So we are excited about that presentation as well as many others.
Anything? Anyone?
Thank you.
Okay. Recommended. Let's see. There's no action to be taken on that. Is that correct? Okay. Item F is the request to revise the textbook list. It looks that the board is approved at this time for the following textbooks: Burial at Thebes, I would imagine that's how they're pronounced, and Discovering Food and Nutrition. Any questions or discussion on that? No? Okay, the recommended action is to approve that revision of the textbook list. George, second. Michael D'Onofrio, all in favor? That's unanimous. And do we need an executive session before we take up personnel items A, B, and C? No? Can I have a motion to take them as a group? First, Mrs. DiBianco. Second, Mr. Crabtree. Before we vote, I'd like to acknowledge retirements. John Moore, Custodial Worker 1, retires with 8.5 years of service with the district. And Linda Paviz, a reading teacher, retires with 8 years of service to the district. Wish them well and congratulate them on their retirements. The recommended action is to I'll get there. Recommended action is to approve A, acknowledge B, and approve C as submitted. All in favor? And that's unanimous. Dr. Geist?
I would like to acknowledge through the approval of our personnel resolutions that we have 2 new staff members in the audience. Jennifer. Jamie Sullivan and Aditya Dahar. Can you please stand?
Welcome.
Welcome. They're going to be our new administrators at the high school. We have Carol and Melissa, who are also in the audience from the high school. And so thank you for coming. We welcome you to our North Syracuse family. We are excited, as I know the staff is, to have you become part of the team. And we're looking forward to a great year. Don't hesitate to call if you have questions, and we'll see you in September.
Welcome. Thank you. Hey,
Or before that, I'm sure.
Connie,
Melissa's
is
shaking her head.
Is the motion, Connie? Is the motion there? I don't see it.
No.
Okay. For executive committee.
After. Yeah.
Right. So it's. I'd like to make a motion that we move into executive session for the purpose of reviewing 2 parental appeals, to review negotiations with how many district bargaining unit members? With all of them? Okay. To review legal matter and to review personnel items with action to follow. Right? That sound okay? Okay. Second, Michael Maurizio, all in favor? And that's unanimous, and we're adjourned.
Wow, an hour.